How do you take this exam? You take it anywhere. I picked up my laptop. I did the test. I showed them the room. They captured all the information off of my speaker and my camera. I sat down and I took the test in my PJs. So you can take your exam anywhere. First, what you do is you register for it. You tell them that what country you're sitting in, what exam you're taking, and selecting a testing center. There's only one testing center, by the way. So then you pay for it, $179. You give them that information. You have to agree to the terms down below. Notice those two little blue icons down below? You've got to go through and you've got to click that button, read those terms, scroll down, and then say I accept before these green boxes pop up. If you don't do that, you can't go on to the next step, which is actually putting in your payment information. They have this thing called the remote proctor. You pop this up next and it says, okay, test your computer configuration. It tests the audio, it tests the video, and the network bandwidth to capture all this audio and video information. So when you go through that, it kind of looks like this. It pops up and it says, great, I found you. I see you're using a built-in iSight because I happen to have a Mac. And then it goes through and it checks the audio and it checks the bandwidth. And then it processes all that information about that particular computer. If you were to change locations or IP addresses, you probably have to retest all of that information. So it processes the test results and it goes, congratulations, you can take the test in this area. Now what you should do next before you do anything else is if you're about to take the test at this location and your computer passes, you need to go into a room where there's not a lot of stuff on the walls. I happen to have gone out of my office in my house. I went upstairs, I sat down at the dining room table, and then they said, okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to get you to, when you're ready to take the exam, we're going to make you take a 360 picture of the room. So you spin your laptop around so that they can see the whole room. And then they also make you tilt it down toward the desk so that you see that there's no papers there. And then tilt it back up toward the ceiling so that you can see that there's nothing above. They capture all that information at exam time, and then you start your exam. They turn on your video camera, they turn on your microphone, and you take the exam, and they watch you take the exam by recording you. You go through the whole process, you finish, and you pass, and everything's good, but that's not it. Then what they do is they take that information, all the video and audio, along with your exam. They take it back to their headquarters, they take a look at that information and make sure while you were going along there were no anomalies. If there's any anomalies in what's going on and they don't tell you that process, if there are any anomalies, they will reject your exam at that point. You lose your $179. By the way, I want to talk about that $179 fee in just a moment. So how do you take the exam? Well, you're going to actually install a piece of software. This is a really nice YouTube. I'm sorry that the URL is really kind of messed up there, but welcome to YouTube. And in that URL, what you see is how people take the exam. The process that I described to you, they actually show you that whole thing going on. I like the guy drinking the cup of coffee out of the little piece of plastic. They're telling that he's drinking coffee, but it's out of a plastic cup. So just pay attention to the little things in life, right? Then you're going to install your application. They have one for Windows and they have one for Mac. I don't know that they have one for Linux. I didn't try that out. But I installed the Remote Proctor app. You have to download it, decompress it, and then run it. Okay, what can you read to be prepared for this exam? I mean, I want you to come to class. I want you to listen and learn from me. And hopefully I bring this material to life. But you might want something more than that. And what's beautiful about preparation for this exam is most of the material is free. The basic material of understanding cloud computing before you get to EXIN is in the NIST special publications. This is a US-based organization, National Institute of Science and Technology. They have these special publications that are always labeled 800. So 800-146 is about cloud computing. And by the way, all three vendor-neutral cloud computing exams all use this as a basis for their definitions. If you don't know those definitions and you don't understand those complexities of cloud computing, you can't make it on to the next step. Separate from that is the 125 document, which is virtualization. Since cloud computing sits on top of virtualization, it's good to know the basics there, and they start talking about the protocols, and that becomes very important for the EXIN exam along with VPNs. Specific to security and privacy, special publication 144. Now right there you've got about 250 pages worth of information. You could stop there and not do any other resources, but I want you to be more than just somebody who comes and watches a video, comes and reads a book and takes a test. Be more. And so that's where the EXIN, the body that puts on the certification, also comes in with their book, which is called Cloud Computing for Business. That's written by the Open Group. Some people call that the TOGAF. It is not free, and depending on your jurisdiction and location, you're going to pay in dollars or euros. It's somewhere around $50 for that book. It's an excellent book to get those final little details from a vendor-neutral perspective. Now there is, at that same site, this thing called the Foundation Workbook. And I say no. Let me be clear about this. No! It's not a good workbook. At any price. I told the author when they wrote it, there's only 2 books that I've ever been so mad that I ripped up and threw away. This one happened to have been a virtual book, so I couldn't rip it up. This book, I was so frustrated with it by the end, I said, I'm going to tell them that I want my money back. I've never asked for my money back on a book, especially a virtual book. Well, in this case, I wanted my money back. They didn't give it to me. It's a bad book, and it doesn't do you any good to read it. All the other information that's in all these other free documents that are listed here outpaces that easily. The couple of hints that you get for exam questions out of that, maybe 3 or 4 questions, is not worth the money that you spend for it because you can get it otherwise being a good cloud professional. So what about the other documents? Well, the European document from Anesia, the Cloud Computing Benefits, Risk, and Recommendations for Information Security, is a free document. It's a download. It's a relatively long document and it goes way beyond the exam, but have a little bit more of a library of information. And finally, if you want to go to the Cloud Security Alliance, I really like their top 10 threats. And that little piece right there, that top 10 threats, you want to download that document and read the threats and controls because there is some questions about that on the EXIN exam. I'm not giving away any secrets here because they say it right inside of the documentation as where you can get it to. And the people that wrote the Foundations workbook, that's the only thing they gave me. They said, quoted from. Last is a CCSK version 3 document. It is about cloud security and cloud security certification. And it goes into the 15 different domains that are on that exam. There are 3 different vendor-neutral certification bodies that are out there. Cloud Security Alliance, CompTIA, and EXIN. Cloud Security Alliance does the certification, the CCSK. You can take that exam online also. That one's on your honor, by the way. It's a little bit different. And then the EXIN, we talked about that one's online. But the CompTIA, you have to go to a location to pass that test. You have to show up, present your ID, and do all the things that you've done before for a technical test. EXIN also has another certification that requires that you have the Cloud Computing Foundation, and you also have to have their security exam and their ITIL exam to get that upper level Certified Integrated Security Cloud Services, CISCS. I guess that would be the initials for that. That's not it. There are 10 different vendors out there that have 54 other certifications because everybody wants to cloud enable their tool and then get you to take a test so they can support the certification that they're going through. I hope you'll try out at least one of these certifications. I hope you're ready to have fun. I hope you're ready to jump into the material of the cloud certification. And good luck.